try something at least once.
He said it all applies to everything.
Buddha came out and he just looked at the flower and he walked away. Why would you take a picture of
the
a flower?
Yeah.
You have to go there at 4 o'clock in the morning.
It's like the Bentley of residential brands in real estate.
If it would be that easy, everybody would do it. I would be probably billionaire by now. And
How do you explain to a skeptic, especially business people, that meditations is not a waste of time? Welcome to Frequency of Wealth podcast, where we explore how meditations and spirituality amplify business success. My name is Nikita Zhitov. Today we have a special guest, my very good friend, Yuriy Vaynshteyn.
Hi, Nikita. It's my pleasure to be here with you.
We're glad to have you. Yuri have spent 14 years working for IBM as an executive, then quit the corporate job to go into real estate. He brought one of the most luxurious real estate companies in the world, Engel and Völkers, to North Carolina. Was one of the first ones in America, I believe. And later he transitioned to run his own firm in real estate. He's a commercial developer. He's grown his brokerage company to over 80 agents. He probably touched every aspect of real estate, from residential to multifamily and commercial, there is to touch. So Yuri is one of the very few entrepreneurs that I know that combines meditation and spiritual practices to make $1 million deals. So we have a lot of questions for him today because we're all very curious to know how exactly you can use the spiritual practices to create extraordinary amount of wealth for yourself. Yuri, welcome again, and we're happy to get started with you.
Thank you, Nikita. It's a great introduction.
Yeah.
So very proud to be here with you.
So very first question, you used to work for IBM. Don't you, be honest, don't you regret leaving the security and the safety of corporate job, very high paying job, working in New York City on Wall Street, to go into become entrepreneur and work for yourself?
No, I never had one single regret about that. There were some difficult times and hard times, but not even once since I left IBM I had any regrets about it.
Tell me about your first major risk that you've taken, if it's different from quitting your IBM job.
A risk with real estate or just
risk in general, risk in your business life?
Oh, I've taken many different risks, and I started different companies, and some of them were successful, and some of them were a flop, and I made a lot of mistakes, and I've learned a great deal of things from my mistakes. As a matter of fact, I probably learned more from my mistakes than I did from my successes. Any specific example?
Yeah, what was your biggest mistake?
I guess my biggest mistake is to begin or jump on different enterprises and businesses before I did more research and partner with some people that I didn't do background check on, or did any I knew them really well. In my later years, I realized that it is really important to know who you're working with and decide how do you want to spend your time and what kind of business you want to start.
So it sounds like an advice would be to do proper due diligence on your business partners before getting into bed and doing business with them.
Right, doing proper due diligence on anything you do without, jumping and do it, without proper understanding what the business is, how much your involvement is, what each partner is responsible for, and have that conversation up front versus, get in a bed with someone and then figuring out that this is not the right partner or this is not the business you want to be in.
So it sounds like there's misalignment of expectations and also in clarity who is supposed to be doing what. So how can you tell a good partner from a bad? Is it purely checking out their past history and doing background search on them, or is it intuition? Is it gut feeling? Like, is it their behavior?
It's not necessarily good or bad partner. Is it the person that you really connect with? In our language, do you have energy going in both directions with that partner, right? The same person that doesn't have a connection with you may have perfect connection with somebody else. So it's just who do you feel comfortable with? What does your gut feeling tells you? It's like similar to dating. When you meet someone, sometimes you know this is the right person, so you just kind of hold hands and then you dance and then you decide if you want to continue the relationship. If you don't, it doesn't mean that this is a bad person or a bad partner. It just means that this is not the right person for you. So definitely listen to gut feelings and do your due diligence.
So it sounds like it has to be a balance of both. It's to see if their energy is aligned with yours, if you're a match. Not necessarily that they're a bad person, they're just a wrong person for you in this particular case. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's a good summary. But also having conversations up front versus, having them after you get into the business. It's really important to understand what each partners brings to the table, what the responsibilities are. And it's really important to discuss it beforehand versus, after you started your business.
Sounds like a lot of, I've heard it said before by somebody, a lot of unhappiness of man come from having wrong or having too many expectations. So would you say it's as now you've matured as a person and evolved over the years, do you have more expectations and know exactly what you want, or do you have less expectations
Expectation from people or from myself?
From people.
Well, I have more expectations for myself. And then, as I said before, having that energy and feeling comfortable with the person you're in. You and I talk about it in just recently about checking the temperature in the room or the energy in the room. You walk in or you sit with someone and you kind of check your, where your energy is, and very quickly start to realize if you're in the right place or you're with the right person, or you're making a mistake. You just need to look inside and
Listen to your feelings.
and listen to your feelings.
Yeah.
And your gut feeling will tell you
Yeah, I always
most of
say
it.
that your feelings is the language of your soul. That's why we meditate, so that we can quiet down the voice in the head, so that we can be more observant and actually hear what our soul is telling us through the feelings
I
and through
like it.
experiences. So you brought Engel and Völkers to Charlotte, which is an international, it's like the Bentley of residential brands in real estate. And was it a pure cold calculation, or were you going more on your intuition?
It was both. I started Engel and Völkers about 10 years ago when we were coming out from financial crisis. And after financial crisis of 2008, 2007, a lot of deals we have done were related to distressed properties, distressed sales, foreclosure, short sales. And so when I realized that the economy is making a turn and there are more high-end sales are, coming online, that was the time when I started thinking about to changing the brand and kind of start to focus on more high-end real estate. And so Engel and Völkers come along, and I decided to jump on board, and it was a great decision.
It was a very practical, pragmatic, very IBM engineer type of calculation.
But I also use my gut feelings, and I
Yeah.
use my feeling to decide.
You've used the gut feelings to go after deals in the past. Have you ever walked away from a deal because even though the numbers look perfect on paper, but the gut told you you need to walk away?
I do it all the time. That's my first kind of check. How do I feel about the deal? I don't even jump into the numbers if things don't feel or don't look right, or the person I'm dealing with, or people I'm dealing with, I can't align with, or there is not the right energy going between us.
At what point do you make the determination? After visiting a property, or just when you first hearing about it? At what point the decision is made?
I can't tell really at which point I make that decision, but at any point during transaction or making a deal, I feel that there is something off. I'm ready to walk away.
Okay, you think it's always better to walk away?
It's better always to walk away than get in a bed with something really, that's not going to work. There are a lot of deals out there, and it just, there's always time to find the right deal at the right time, and you have to feel good about it.
Can you describe that feeling? What exactly that sensation that you feel when you know, like, okay, here it comes, I need to walk away?
There is a feeling, there is that thing in your stomach, I want to say, but if you don't feel right about something, you'll know it. There is something going on inside of your body. There is something is happening with your energy. You just need to listen to yourself and really look inside. And by the way, meditation is a great place to go into when you're not sure. You're making an important decision and you need to, decide, are you going this direction or that direction, right? Why don't you go into meditation and ask for guidance? Very often that guidance will come. Sometimes you wake up in the morning, you have very clear understanding, a very clear picture of where you need to be and what do you need to do.
So how exactly do you use meditation? You set an intention before going into meditation, or you think about it when you are in the middle of it?
Well, it's the best to set expectations, set something up front before you even go into the meditation. So every time you start meditation, you need to have
An intention.
An intention.
When was the first time you started meditating, and what attracted you to it as someone with a very technical background like yourself?
You probably remember when I visited you in Miami and you invited me to go to the beach and meditate. And I never meditated before. I agreed, and then later realized that we have to go there at 4:00 in the morning. You remember that?
I do remember that. I didn't realize it was your first time. So you were visiting me. I was living in Miami, in Sunny Isles, and you came to visit, I think, with another friend of ours.
Yep.
I said, hey, you guys want to go meditate? I said, sure. What's that? Yeah. I says, you'll see. And then, by the way, it's at 4 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. And, I didn't want to back away from it. I went on vacation, so I didn't plan to wake up at 4, but I hastily agreed. And that was a great time. I remember we actually shared the same meditation, and we walked for over an hour on the beach in the dark. And after we ended meditation, we had a sunrise, and we lay down on the sand on the beach, and it was nobody. It was very quiet, and the feeling was just amazing. And you and I, we talk a lot about it, and then you invited me for some retreats, and here we are.
Yeah. So you, sounds like what attracted you is you enjoyed the feeling that you had after having done it.
I had to overcome my initial hesitation, and thanks to you, because of my respect to you, I trusted your word in giving it a try. But the feeling was truly amazing feeling after we finished that meditation. It's different feeling than getting achieving something. It reminded me of the feeling when we summit Kilimanjaro, for example, when you put really hard work in getting something that you really desired, and you put a lot of effort in it, and then when you have it, this is the feeling, this is this rush, this is this excitement that you achieve something. And really, all we did is just walk on the beach and
It
lay
sounds
down.
like it really generates the feeling of worthiness, accomplishment, right, fulfillment. So you feel very, very worthy of receiving, I guess, right, after having done that. Because those things you describe, when you do something very difficult like summiting a mountain, you feel very worthy at the end, and that feeling of joy and pride and accomplishment.
You nail it, man.
Yeah. I started my morning routine at 4 o'clock in the morning with meditation, exercising stuff. What does your routine look like?
So my routine is evolving. I'm always trying to, learning new things and add some more things to my routine as well. I do wake up very early. Often, you and I, we meditate often at 4 o'clock in the morning when you visit or I visit. And I love it. This is, amazing feeling, great time. But recently I integrated a few new things to my morning routine. For example, I do red light therapy now while I meditate, and I need to work out at least 6 times, most of the week, 7 times a week in the morning. I do breathing exercises now in the morning as well. So I have a lot of things that I pack in my morning routine. So anywhere from about 4:30 in the morning until about 8:30.
4 hours.
About 4 hours. But that's between going to the gym, doing breathing, red light therapy, meditation.
But don't you agree that that's kind of the most important hours a day that you spend on yourself?
This is one of my most important and most favorite time of the day, when I can just wake up in the morning. There is no phone calls. There is nothing that really bothers you. And I'm not even preparing for this upcoming day. I'm just kind of going inside and
Go with the flow.
go with my flow, right? I'm looking inside of me, and I'm trying to feel. One of the meditations, by the way, I do in the morning is body electric, where you go through all energy centers. And one of my favorite things is to feel where in my body, which energy center needs some support and some love and help, and focus on that energy center.
And what happens when you focus on that particular part of your body?
Yeah, where you put your thoughts, that's where your energy goes and flows, right? So you generate, you move your energies towards that part of your body that needs some love and attention, and by doing it, you heal it.
You give it energy, and it heals. Do you have any different or specific routine before you go into an important meeting or negotiations?
I don't have any routines anymore. Not that I ever was really, had any routines, but in the past there were some deals or some business meetings that would be so important that would, crush me. I found a way to not put myself in situations where any particular deal is so important that it will, ruin me or crush me or change my career. So every approach or business opportunity that comes along, I'm very calm. I'm prepared. I come from a point where, I can walk away from any deal
That's
that
the
I'm
ultimate
involved
flex. ultimate flexibility to walk away and not giving a shit if the deal happens or not, right?
Yeah, this is one of the really important things that I've learned during my business career is not to uh, have any deal that you can walk away from, not to get involved in those kind of deals. Every deal, you need to be prepared. If you don't feel something is not right or numbers don't work or your gut feeling is not there, you need to be able to walk from any one of them.
So how do you explain to a skeptic, especially business people, that meditations is not a waste of time?
I truly feel that whenever a person is ready, the teacher will come, and more you're gonna try to convince somebody, of a way of meditate or whatever your spiritual practice is, the more people will reject you. I think the way to approach that is, share your thoughts and ideas like you did with me, and if they're interested to use that practice, that spiritual awakening, then they'll start using it. But it has to be the right time for that particular individual to jump in.
When they're ready, right?
When they're ready, right?
You don't want to force your ways on people and says, hey, whatever you believed before, you shouldn't believe in. You should believe in this, whatever the new thing.
But I think what often happens is somebody had a very bad deal or difficult deal, or they lost a lot of money, and that's where the most vulnerable is, and that's where they're so most open to try something else, try something different.
So that day on the beach in South Florida, what made you open to be willing to do a 4 a.m. morning meditation with me?
I would think if anybody else other than you would suggest something like that, I would probably not go for it.
Yeah.
So it was my respect to you, having you as a friend, being your guest, and being open-minded to try something else, right? I did have my concerns, and I really didn't believe in it, but I have a rule, try something at least once.
Okay.
And so that was
He said the rule applies to everything. So one of the practices I do, a meditation called changing boxes, it's where I use it to shift realities to solve problems, so to eliminate conflicts out of my life. Do you have something similar that you do? Or how do you resolve conflicts?
Changing boxes is a good one. I do use that meditation as well, and that this is where you kind of find a way either from unpleasant situation, or you want to find a way to get in a different box per se, to move from where you are to to a new reality. I wish I would be much better at this, because I would resolve make a lot of other advancements and other things, but I have been successful a number of times in changing boxes, and it feels great.
Are any of those examples you're willing to share, where it's like there is no question that you're the ones who've changed the reality?
Yeah, there's no questions that I'm the one, because when you truly believe in something and you start feeling it, and you go in this new box, or you go in this new dimension or this new reality, and you see yourself there, you see how you dressed, how it smells, how it feels, you see yourself in that reality, you end up there. It's just hard work. It might not happen right away, it might not happen the first time, but being persistent and making that feeling will eventually move you in that.
So what do you tell to somebody who tries that, to try shifting realities to a parallel dimension, where it's a different version of circumstances, and it doesn't work for them? nothing changes. What do you tell them?
I tell them, try harder, try again.
So they're just not
If
good
it
enough.
would be that easy, everybody would do it. I would be probably billionaire by now, and doing a lot of other things.
Since you started doing meditation practices and other spiritual work, because you've done other type of retreats as well, how much would you say, I know it wasn't the goal, but how much as a byproduct of this work would you say your networks have changed?
Yeah, so I think what have changed with me going to this more spiritual world and different realities, that I don't care about how much money in my bank account anymore. Something that was really important to me in the past. Now with my understanding of the world, have shifted, has actually changed in a way where I start to value the power of now more than power of wealth, or power of money. So living from the world of abundance, where, and I'm not saying that I haven't gotten more wealthier. I became way more wealthy, but it was just a byproduct of me not focusing on how much money do I have in my bank account, by focusing on how can I be happy, and what do I do for the world, and what can I do for others, is actually changing my bank account, which is crazy.
Yeah, isn't it funny that as soon as you stop caring about it and you don't focus on it, it grows on trees, right? You just the floodgates open up.
That's exactly right. And to me, it was, I couldn't understand it in the past, but now it's so clear to me that by focusing on your internal happiness, by doing things that really you enjoy doing, will really bring you everything you want, including wealth.
So you have 3 sons, Yuri, right? Some of them still live with you. They're teenagers, and some of them already have grown up and off to the world on their own. So how do you plan to pass down the wisdom that you've acquired to them?
It's a very difficult question. And you and I were in mastermind, and we talk about our families, and we talk about how wealth, and how to pass our wisdom to our kids and future generations. And one thing that I've learned is that by thinking or by behaving in a way that you're smarter than your kids, you will push them away. So I stopped thinking or pretending that I am wiser or smarter than my kids, because in many ways my kids are smarter than me. There's just different things that we know. And I try to come to approach those issues as from the point of unconditional love. By the way, what a perfect way to practice unconditional love, right? You and I, we know in our spiritual practices that this is the highest and most desired emotion that you can achieve, right? It's very difficult to get there, but unconditional love is the one that most spiritual leaders are going to. And how easy is it try to practice that on your own kids, right? And that's where I'm coming from. I basically talk to my kids about, whatever happened, I'm going to love them unconditionally. They can always come to me, And if I have a teaching opportunity, I use that uh, to share my wisdom. I don't presume, or I don't expect it to be accepted by them. I don't pretend that I right, but I've tried to find that moment to share it with them. I actually have a really good example. If you have time, I can
Yeah, absolutely.
share
Love to
with
hear
you.
it.
Recently, I had a one-on-one trip with my son Max. He just turned 19 years old, and we did great trip together to spend some time overseas. And one of the nights, we just decided to take a walk, and go in the park. And so we passed in this bush, and there is a flower on that bush, and I slowed down and look at that flower and actually took a picture, right? So my 19 years old, he kind of laughed, and he's like, why would you take a
A
picture
picture
of
of
a
the flower.
flower?
Yeah.
It was interesting because just a few days before I read about silent sermon. Did you hear about that? This is when Buddha came out for sermon, and he held a flower. He didn't say a word, so he spent whatever time he usually spends in a sermon, and he would just looking at the flower, right? And then he turned around and he left. And so only one disciple understood what it was all about. So he smiled. Everybody was just in disbelief, what just happened. Buddha came out and he just looked at the flower and he walked away. And so I kept walking with my son, and then I said, did you hear that story? He's like, no. And so I told him the story, and then I said, you realize you can look at that flower and you can express pretty much every emotion. You can be sad, and because that flower will die, or or somebody will cut it off, or you can laugh, and you can be sad, and so pretty much all range of emotion can
Wow.
can go just looking at the flower, right? And he looked at me, he kind of shrugged off, and we kept walking. And then we went to a restaurant, and so we spent a couple of hours walking together and talking and then quiet. And then we were coming back, and he was in front of me. We were passing back to the same bush, and he slowed down and he looked at that bush and he took a picture of that flower. We didn't talk about it again. So to me it was that moment where he might never remember that, right? We never discussed that again, but I think he will, and maybe at some day he'll say, my dad was telling me a story about this silent sermon, and tell it to his kids. So, but this is the way I've learned to kind of pass my wisdom
Yeah.
to my kids, or to frankly to anybody else. You asked me before, what do you tell to young entrepreneur, or young businessman? If they want to listen, there's always a way to uh, tell a story, and it could be a quiet story, by the way. It doesn't have to be in words. It could be just being together, watching you doing things. It could be just energy flowing between you guys, and that person can have a great lesson from it.
So what kind of advice would you give to yourself as a 20-year-old self?
I think the biggest thing I could have done when I was 20 to be more successful, or frankly happier, because all we when we say we want to be successful, really what we want to be in while we're here is to be happy, right? And many of us think that by acquiring wealth will is that what's going to make us happy? And that's a big mistake, by the way. But one thing that I've learned is to check your ego against anything you're planning to do or anything you're doing is going to go a long way to make you happier.
Meaning that check, like, are you doing this particular investment? Are you doing this particular career move for the right reasons? Or is this ego driving your decision? Or is this or is that soul driving your decision? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. So, ego is often, especially for me being 20 years old, and I see similar situation with even with my kids and younger people, that ego is driving their decision, right? How people gonna look at me because I have this watch or I have this car or I have these shoes, whatever that is, and by getting rid of your ego will help them to go further away and achieve more than they would otherwise.
Do you also implement meditation practices or any kind of other spiritual practices at work with your team, with your employees?
I encourage people and my partners and people I work with to do, but again, my philosophy is, if person is ready, they'll have a teacher. If they're not ready, there is really nothing.
I've heard it said before somewhere, when the student is ready, the
teacher will
show up.
Yeah.
But there is another ending to that story.
What is it?
I don't remember. I think it's something like, if the teacher doesn't show up, it means the student is past the teacher. And I need to look it up. But yeah, interesting you made that analogy. So there's a practice you can do. Like, a lot of people say, like, hey, we all live very busy lives. And so for somebody who is very, very busy, and you're a busy person yourself, you're running multiple companies, having many different development projects going on at the same time. So what can you do, quick practice in the office, or that also somebody who has a very busy schedule, they can do quickly to change their state?
One thing that I've learned, which was change my perspective on things, is that you can't have positive and negative emotion at the same time. They just can't exist at the same time in your body, or thoughts for that reason too. So you cannot have positive and negative thoughts at the same time, or feelings. So if you want to change how you feel and what you think, you just start thinking about something positive. And one easy way is to think about gratitude. There's always somebody around that you can be thankful for. It could be your mother, it could be a significant other, it could be, person around you. It could be somebody who just smiled to you. Every time you just generated gratitude emotion, all other emotions will not be able to live in the same place.
I think so. If I understood it correctly, whenever you feel down or depressed or upset about something, just try to shift your focus and think about something that you're grateful for.
Yes, and even if you don't feel sad, it's just a daily practice to be thankful for something, to somebody.
Is the gratitude and things you're grateful for a part of your morning routine that you've talked about earlier?
I often do gratitude, and it could be very quick one. It could be 5-10 minutes in the sauna after my workout. It could be before I go to bed. It's just, I want to fall asleep smiling. And in order to, and it's truly changing your whole night. It's changing your attitude. It's changing, how you wake up in the morning. If you wake up with a smile on your face, and by thinking about something good that happened during the day, for being thankful to someone or for something, even for yourself, or carrying on, or doing some kind of exercise, or doing something that you came or you wouldn't have done otherwise, and then you smile and just fall asleep. And
Sounds
what a
like
great way.
it could affect the quality of your sleep as well.
It affects quality of sleep and quality of your life as well.
Do you have a special place, that your place of power where you go to do your practices, or is it could be anywhere?
Could be anywhere. It could be driving.
So funny you say driving. This is the second time today when somebody, right before you, I had
really?
my wife in the studio, and I asked her what's her most common meditation practice, and I said it's while driving. I said I didn't know there was such a thing as a driving meditation, because we have a sitting down meditation, walking meditation, laying down meditation, but there is apparently a driving meditation as well. So,
but it doesn't have to be an hour. It could be just a minute. It could be very short. Again, you just think about something that make you happy today, or do something that even for a driver that try to cut you off, and you just kind of smile and shake your hand, and it just makes you feel better. And again, it could be 30 seconds, could be quick. Obviously, you can go in a long meditation as well, especially if you want to change boxes and you want to get yourself in a different reality. It might take longer to get there, but just to change your mood and your feeling, it could be very quick, nice thought.
Quick question: coffee or meditation?
Meditation after coffee.
Your last deal, intuition or pure calculation?
Intuition for sure.
And if you had $100 million right now in cash, what would you do with $100 million?
$100 million. I tell you, I would change them for 100 million smiles.
You would donate it and says, hey, I'll give you each.
I don't know if I would donate,
but I would $1 if you smile back at me.
I don't know what I would do, but I would do something. I think $100 million would worth of 100 million smiles.
That's a good answer. I like that. Yuri, it's been incredible. Thank you for joining me on this podcast. The idea is to try to ask you questions and retrieve answers out of you that hopefully will give people clues of when somebody who has achieved ultra high level of net worth and success, how they think, and so that you can start recognizing a pattern for yourself. I think you started noticing a trend. It's more about the feeling and how we think and how we feel that creates our state of being, that ultimately going to yield and lead you to having a life that you deserve, that you dream of. So hopefully you got some very good nuggets out of this interview. And again, thank you for watching. Yuri, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
The best way is to send me an email at Yuri, Yuri, at estatevc.com. Yuri at estatevc.com.
So you've been watching the Frequency of Wealth podcast, and we had a special guest, Yuriy Vaynshteyn, here with us. So if you like it, please subscribe and be on the lookout for the next episodes.